Well, folks, welcome back to the show. This is the Shanky Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you as part of the upper tier. If you could head out there, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Of course, drop a like on the video. And of course, share the content as you support us all the time. This is your match reaction and player ratings. Wolves 1, Liverpool 3. Massive win for the Reds today on so many levels. Um, such a poor start to the game and all that. And then are we building some mentality monsters here again? Our third win coming from behind this season. Really, really, really important. Getting that win over the line as well on those half 12 kickoffs that have been bogey for us as well. We noted last night, even on the preview, that we've had to endure 12 of them since 2015, which is double the closest team is to us with 6. But let us know your thoughts on the game in the chat. It was a tough one at half time. I wanted to get the TV and throw it straight out the window. I've never screamed at a screen. I've never screamed at a screen as much in my life. I was so frustrated with that first half because we had spoken the preview about getting out there from minute one, getting against them, doing what needed to be done, potentially getting an early goal and settling down. And we know it was always going to be a tough game. Wolves, of course, having it tough this season as well, but you can see they're a decent team. You can see that they've been a little bit unlucky. And I'm sure tonight Gary O'Neill is looking at that table and he's wondering how Wolves are down in that position there. But it was fairly evident today what the issue is. They were absolutely unbelievable in the first half. Should have really been 2, if not 3, up at half time, but didn't take their chances. And that's been the story of their season. Before we get into it, a couple of OGs in the chat there. Daz is in. What's the crack, Niall? All good, Daz. How are you? Hope you enjoyed it today. And Ian, of course, is in as well. What's the crack, Niall? All good. So we're going to be giving you a match reaction. We're going to talk about the gaffer's reaction after the game. We'll do some player ratings, have a little bit of fun. I should have really put this slide up first to kick it off and start that celebration from Robbo, and what a goal it was. But of course, we'll get into all that and get talking about it. Eno's in the chat, of course. Yeah, great win by Liverpool. Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge win for us. Red Bird is in as well. How are you, Red Bird? Mentality monsters came back in the second half. Tell us this, Red Bird, are they returning? Are we getting that mental steeliness that we haven't had for a couple of seasons now? Is it starting to show itself again now with this energetic midfield that certainly in the first half today looked a little bit jaded and a little bit worrying? But again, yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. But before we begin, let's run through the goals. In 7 minutes, Wang at the back post creeps up at one. I thought Robbo might have done a little bit better to clear it. Ball came across. Ball should really never get across like that as well. And we were a little bit started a little bit complacent, a little bit tender, a little bit jaded. You looked at McAllister and all, he looked knackered, and you could see by him as well that one where he grabbed the player by the chest and took the booking for it. That's the sign of a player who's a little bit, that was a real sort of midfielder's tired kind of tackle, if you like, and stuff like that. So yeah, a little bit off it, so to speak. And it was fairly obvious by McAllister as well that he was banjaxed from the travel, obviously he had to endure and stuff like that. So but thank God we did have options, and the second half is a different story. So of course on 55 minutes, before we get into Gakpo, of course, gets our goal, and then, of course, gets hooked straight away. Of course, he was being subbed before that, but finished off a nice little tap in from a lovely movement. Robertson on 85, what a goal that was. Plays the ball out to Mo Salah, and sure, of course, all the Wolves players are thinking, is anyone thinking, who's picking up Andy Robertson? Just goes into the box and a lovely finish, and you can see the reaction there right in front of you. And then, of course, what should have been a hat-trick of assists for Mo Salah. Absolutely robbed. Harvey Elliott with a lovely shot. Cannons in off Bueno. 90 plus 1 minutes OG. Robbed Mo Salah of a hat-trick of assists. What a game Mo Salah had second half. First half, again, out of sorts like the whole team. Let's take some more comments. Where Daz is in. All right, Red Bird. Oh, Henry's in as well. How are you, Henry? What's a crack, Niall, pal? Can't stay. Maybe I can pop on if you're still on after I finish my review show. Yeah, absolutely, Henry. Good luck. And again, drop a link in, Henry, if you want. If you want people to know you're on Red Bird, the best celebration was Harvey, yeah. And he got booked, and Curtis got booked. And we don't care. It was well worth it. Lovely to see. Aces Dazzler having a massive meltdown. Do you know something? I haven't heard from Dazzler all day, bar this morning. This morning we had a conversation about The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, I think. And that was it. I haven't heard from him since, and I don't expect to hear from him probably this evening either. Redbird, happy days, Daz. Always great after a win. How are you, pal? Good, Redbird. And Ian's in. Shout out to everyone. Hope you're having a great weekend. Absolutely. Listen, we're Liverpool fans. It's always a great weekend when Liverpool wins, Man United lose. So there's no better weekend. And it was shaping up to be an unbelievable weekend when West Ham took the lead as well, but unfortunately couldn't carry it through. And that's neither here nor there. Let's go back talk about the first half. First of all, it was very disjointed, giving the ball away, and not just giving the ball away, even in the tackles, not winning the tackles, coughing up the ball so cheaply. Um, we've often spoke on the podcast about having respect when you're in possession and all, and the value of having possession and all that kind of stuff. And we just kind of whittled it away today, didn't we? When you think about it, we just kept on giving the ball away. So cheap. No one wanted to take responsibility on the pitch. The midfield was just being played through. We were trying to play kind of a narrow game. They wanted to play a wide game, so we were getting cut out on the wings all the time. I think there was one moment in the second half when the ball was played out wide on the right hand side, Robbo's side, and he was nowhere to be seen. He was playing like a central role. This guy was just out there on his own, and there literally wasn't nearly a Liverpool player in the camera shot. It was absolutely crazy. And that's when I was a little bit worried because they were getting all their joy down. And we know when you're attacking from the wings and you attack in like that and you put balls in the box, you will get opportunities. And they certainly did. They took that goal really, really well. Wang putting it away. I thought Robbo could have done better, opened up his legs as well, came through. Allison really with no chance. I know there was people today on some of the podcasts talking about how Allison might have been able to do a little bit better. I think by the time he seen the ball, he was already in the back of the net. So I thought it was a little bit unfair on Allison. But I thought Robbo could have done better to cut it out, and I thought we could have done much better not to get the ball in there in the first place. Then they had a number of other chances as well, and quite frankly, they could have been 2 or 3 up by half time. So we were lucky going in at 1-0, and the gaffer spoke about it in the post. We'll talk about that. But before we go on, what did we think? How did we feel about the lineup? When you look at the lineup that's there, most of it I got right. Kwanzaa, I didn't expect to start. I was glad he did. He had an outstanding day. We'll see what the gaffer had to say. I thought he was kind of, if you look at the game as an overall, I think he was a shining light today. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and it's great to now know that you have a certain option like that there and stuff like that. That he can be used. And to be honest with you, I know he came off and had to be substituted either with an injury or with cramp, whatever it was. But if he's fit to play on Thursday, I'd play him in the Europa League. I'd keep him going now and keep on building his confidence in some of those games. I think will be really, really cool. And he certainly has earned the chance to do it. Where are we now? Unfortunately, City already champions. I wouldn't go that far, Racers. It's a long road to go. Yeah, Champions League kicking in next week and all. Anything can happen injury-wise. Daz, what did you think of Klopp's lineup today, Noel? Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. As I said, I didn't expect Kwanzaa to be in there. I wasn't sure about McAllister. And I think actually we probably would have had a better half if we probably had went with my lineup because I had Endo in there sitting in the 6. McAllister was basically just played through today. He was kind of it's not that he was played through, he was kind of out of sorts. He looked banjaxed as well, but he wasn't really in the game. So when you have him playing in a deep kind of 6, he can't influence the game if the teams are attacking down the wings. He kind of becomes a little bit redundant. And that's what happened today. So I was thinking if Endo had been in there as a natural 6 and stuff like that, maybe we might have done a little bit better in that narrow approach we had in the first half, attacking up the middle. Other than that, I picked the front line in Jota, Salah, and Gakpo. Gakpo had a really, really tough first half as well, like most of them did as well. Was never really in the game. I think on commentary and BT, I think they said at one stage, or on TNT, whatever it's called now, they said at one stage that he hadn't even been mentioned in about 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. And it felt like that as well. I think Szoboszlai had a very difficult first half as well. I think most of them did. I think Robbo had a difficult first half. Gomez looked all over the shop. And the one thing I have to say coming out of this match, and look, no one more than me wants Joe Gomez to do really, really well and be successful. But please, Jurgen Klopp, I don't want to hear Joe Gomez playing in a two as a right back and the word inverted use, because we know the issue with Joe Gomez at the moment. Or in general, we know the issue is that it's a concentration thing. He doesn't have the concentration to hold it at times for 90 minutes. And I know we spoke after the Villa game as well, but if you remember that Villa game, I mean, Matip and Joe Gomez had very, very little to do in that game. Basically, the midfield and the forward line absolutely suffocated Villa to the point where they just ran out of energy and got drained and they had nothing to offer. So I don't think it was as much about the performance of Joe Gomez and Joe Matip in defence that some people spoke about. I think it was more about the structure and the formation of the team and how that actually operated in the Villa game. Today, we seen it was very, very different. Joe was just getting spun around. What boy Neto was doing to him was just, there should be a law against it, really. You know what I mean? And it was just really, really poor to see it. And when I seen Joe inverting into the midfield and stuff like that, I was thinking, this is a guy who barely holds his concentration, just operating as a two. And we know Joe can be decent going forward at times and be quite positive in his play and stuff like that. Defensively, when he's turned, it can really become an issue. And Neto spun him like a bottle today, no doubt about it. And it was just interesting to see that dynamic there. And then when he was inverting into midfield as well, he just looked lost, and we looked so open down that left hand side for Wolves, or our right hand side. We just looked so open, and that's a real concern. I even made the point. I think I was on Jack's chat at the time, Anfield Road TV. Check it out. And I was saying that, like, Joe Gomez is what you get if you order Trent Alexander on Wish. Trent is such, his concentration is always so on point most of the time and stuff like that. Now, I know there's times defensively when he gets caught out and stuff like that, but when you invert Trent into the midfield, he can wrap his head around it and stuff like that. And also, it needs someone really key in that right centre side as well. So someone like a Kanate or Virgil or whoever it is, to understand when he inverts in, you're the cover man there. That's where we got cut out today. Between himself and Joel, they had no idea at times what was going on in that first half. Second half, of course, much improved. But again, like the Villa game, it was much improved because we had most of the possession. We were respecting the ball. We were, we were moving the ball around in a more sharper manner. We were finding our own players. We weren't coughing up possession too easy. And from that point of view, our back line had a fairly easy game second half because we were constantly on the attack. And it was like Wolves came out just drained of their energy. It was like Gary O'Neill had turned around and said, look, these guys are going to come at us really hard second half, so prepare yourself to weather the first 10 or 15 minutes. The reality is that turned into 45 minutes. And that's what happened there. So I was a little bit concerned about that. I think it gives Klopp an opportunity now, get the boys back for a week, bit of recovery, get ready for Thursday against Lask. And do what we have to do. But these international breaks, they're just an absolute killer. And I just don't think at times people understand the magnitude of the travel that these guys go through. I know they fly business class and first class and all that kind of stuff, but just that mileage on your body can be so mentally draining. And I think that's what we're seeing today with Mac 10. I think he just struggled, so, but that was my thoughts on the lineup. But yes, I was definitely a little bit concerned when I seen Kwanzaa in there. But even when I say McAllister in there, because I knew the travel had been used, and I was thinking, I thought he would have put Endo in there and he would have sprung McAllister maybe at half time around 60. The one thing I was encouraged about the gaffer today as well, that I'm really liking this season as well, there's none of this bullshit of wait until the 60th minute to make changes. If he recognizes a change needs to be made, he's making the change. Boom, 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 boom. And we called out for that all last season, didn't we? Why wait till 60 minutes? If we had waited today till 60 minutes to make that change and that formation change, Wolves might have been 2-0 up, and then it's a disaster. How do you get back into that game? So that's really, really important to recognize. Really good stuff from the gaffer as well today. I like that. Yeah, but that's how I thought anyway about that. As big up Redbird, big up Richie and Acers. Acers, we only 5 games in. If you think Cheating City are already champions, there's no point you watching games the rest of the season. Yeah, spot on. A shout to Ian Kelly, hope all as well. I hope to join both yourself and Niall on the next wrestling podcast. Yeah, Ian, I was talking to Ian today, actually. I'm heading down he moved into a new house, so Week after next, I'm going to go down and see the new gaff and stuff like that. Now, might even have a little whiskey. Who knows? Just to celebrate the new gaff. Redbird shouldn't have started. Mackie looked knackered, absolutely red, and that's why I put Endo in my starting lineup last night in the preview. I was sure that with the travel and everything else, he wasn't going to put him in there. Kwanzaa was man of the match for me. Yeah, absolutely could easily be him, but we know he wasn't. But certainly he was up there, and you can tell afterwards when we see the comments of the gaffer post match, he was very, very impressed with him, and that's what I like to hear. Jota was poor in my opinion. Yeah, what is it about Jota when he starts games? And we spoke about it on shows as well. When he starts games, it's like he struggles to get into it and stuff like that. And I think today as well, because we were a little bit nervous first half as well, there was just a nervousness about us as well, especially coughing up the goal and coughing up possession and all that kind of stuff. I think with Jota, when that nervousness happens, you can spray balls out to him when you're switching the play. And he'll take the ball down, he'll control it, it'll look really well. And the next thing, he'll pass it backwards. And we've seen it with Joe Gomez today as well. Instead of putting the ball up the line to Salah, he'll turn on the ball and he'll give it back into Joel. It's just a confidence thing. And I can understand it, it's just one of those things. Yeah, but he was poor. And he was one of the guys that I earmarked. He had a really good international break with Portugal and stuff that. And I thought he was going to come back fired up, and especially away to his old haunting ground Wolves as well. I thought he would have actually done the business. So I was happy to see him in there. But when I seen him in the match and stuff like that, it's times he just struggled. But it looks like they were all knackered, regardless of whether you were in South America, Japan, or Europe, or whatever it is. They all look pretty banjacks, to be honest. Del boy, what's the crack, Niall? How are you, Del? How's things? Looking forward to the game tomorrow away at Goodison, aren't you? So look forward to that. I'll be in that chat, no doubt. If you're doing a watch along, and I'll probably join you for the match reaction as well. We can have a chat and stuff like that. So big up Del boy. Go check out Del boy Gunner TV as well. Big Arsenal fan, great channel out there. Dare I say, Kenny out, Del, Kenny out. Daz, do you go strongest on Thursday? I don't think so. I think he'll mix it up again. I think he'll keep the legs, because I think what have we got up next? Is it West Ham? I think we've West Ham up next or something like that, isn't it? Which is a big game if it is. I think it's West Ham next anyway. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, folks. But if it is, I think he won't go that strong. I think what he'll do is he'll put a team out there that'll be capable of doing the job and stuff like that. And I don't think he'd be too worried in these endeavours into the Europa League. The first 6 games in the group or whatever it is, they should be reasonably straightforward. Don't get me wrong, he'll put out a strong team, but he won't put out, I'd imagine he won't put out the strongest team. He needs to be careful now, because we're coming into quite a big run of games at the moment. We've got Leicester coming up soon as well in the Carabao Cup. And we have a couple of interesting matches to round out September and into October as well. So I think you'll have to be careful. And looking at the boys today, they look like they could do with some recovery. I miss the old sponsors on the football jerseys. Yeah, the big old ones, yeah. Spot on, Niall. People went overboard saying Gomez was back, and I said he looked good because our midfield protected him and Matip. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on, Redbird. That's the way it was. And that's not to say at times he didn't play well, but if you go back and look at that Villa game as well, I think it was first half, a couple of times he was spun and it got away. There was one where he landed on his arse on the deck, remember, and the player went off in attack mode and stuff like that. And then I think... was the first half or second half as well, McGinn had a really good chance that he flashed over the bar as well. But small little things and stuff like that. But I think when you have a player like that from a mentality point of view, slightly struggles to keep his focus. He's all the ability in the world, Joe Gomez. We know that because we've seen him play fantastic games and getting ratings of 8 and 9 out of 10. There's no doubt about it. But it's just... at times he just drops his focus and stuff like that and just looks lost. And today was one of those days. And I think it was more it was also a kind of a mentality thing in the team through the first half and stuff like that. Just didn't show up. The gaffer was bewildered by it and stuff like that. But good, he identified it, changed the formation, knew what he needed to do. And then we just went out and bossed the second half. Endo should have started. Yeah, I had him Redbird. He was in my lineup last night for the preview. Jota's link-up play is poor at times. If he doesn't score, he looks bad. Yeah, I think what it was today, just that the whole link-up play today was just horrific, really, until the second half. But yeah, it's good to see that when it's time to be hooked, it's time to be hooked, and the gaffer's willing to do it. That's what's important. West Ham on Sunday, not on TV, 2 p.m. There you go, that's West Ham. So that's going to be a tough game, and I presume it won't be an easy game. You can see how good West Ham. I know Man City did a kind of a number on them today, but West Ham are a very good team. David Moyes is a very good manager. So I'd imagine we're going to be really, really careful. And I think the gaffer as well, when you think about the dynamic of coming back off the international break into a Premier League game, think about the dynamic of going Thursday, Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is with the Carabao Cup. So if you think about the next three games, Lask, West Ham, and then I think it's Leicester in the Carabao Cup. That's the kind of pivot of games there as well that will wear you out very like an international break. So he has to be so careful in his selection. But guys like Kwanzaa today have given him a headache and something food for thought and something to think about. So that's good. And there was also players who didn't get time today, and hopefully Thiago might be back. Kanate should be back. Virgil van Dijk will be back. I'm sure he'll want to get some minutes into Virgil on Thursday. So Virgil might play a little part in the game on Thursday and stuff like that. Maybe, bring him on, or else maybe he should start on Thursday. Let's see what happens. So there's a couple of players there might need. Quivin will probably win goals. Let's see how he does that. Is Quivin going to be the Europa League keeper, or what way is he going to do that? We know that he was insisting on getting some more game time because he was angling potentially otherwise for a leave and stuff like that. So let's see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see what team he goes with. Before we go any further on in the course, we have to talk about these two men. Robbo, 200 Premier League games today, and also captaining the side, and he's just an emotional little fecker, isn't he? But he's our emotional little fecker, and we love him. And he had a tough time first half as well, but grew into the game. And second half, I think it was just a totally different Andy Robinson. And it's so different when you look at those players. You look at the likes of Robbo first half to second half. When we take down the ball, when we hold on to the ball, when we dictate the play, when we control the game through possession and everything else, they're just different players. And of course, Curtis, 100 appearances for Liverpool as well. So hats off to both those boys as well. And of course, we're going to talk about this man as well. What can we say about this man? Player of the match. I like what Redbird said as well. Kwanzaa as well. I wouldn't have been too upset with Kwanzaa getting it either. But Mo Salah, 310 games, 188 goals, and 78 assists. And you know something? I don't know if you have picked up on this, folks, but Mo Salah seems to be relishing in this provider role at the moment as well. You can see his celebrations even when he gets assists. That celebration with Robbo was unbelievable. I think it's worth taking a look at it again, isn't it? Look at Mo Salah. Forget about Robbo. Look at Mo Salah celebrating that goal. That says it all, doesn't it? When people talk about Mo Salah and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get back. Let's get Mo back on it because we love it when Mo was on our screens. Player of the match, 310 games, 188 goals, 78 assists. Something tells me it won't be long before that 78 assists is 100 assists. He was absolutely sensational today, second half. Again, first half struggled like everyone else, but that's it's expected when it's disjointed because if you're not giving him the service that he needs, it's very hard for him to go do his thing. You see it in the first half as well. Ran down a couple of cul-de-sacs today, gave the ball away a little bit cheap and stuff like that. Again, it's just when you're not getting that momentum going, but he always has it in him. A ball from Robbo out to him, and Robbo just sailing into the box, and he just feeding it back to him. Basic, simple, clever, knowledgeable football. Reaping rewards all the time from this guy. Phenomenal. And Saudi thought they were just going to come in with 150 million and whip this guy away from us. I don't think so. Let's have a look at what the gaffer thought after the game. He had a few comments to make and stuff like that. And you can give me your thoughts on this in the chat as well. But it was interesting to hear what the gaffer had to say. He started out on what he was thinking at halftime. Can you imagine what Jurgen Klopp was thinking at halftime? What am I going to do to fix this? Wolves have absolutely ran riot with us. He says we were not ready first half, obviously, he says. But Wolves did really well on top of that. Yeah, Wolves had a really good first half. And I'm sure Gary O'Neill was going in very buoyed by that performance in the first half and stuff like that. And he was thinking, we've a real good chance today to put points on the board, especially with the way we've been unlucky. We've seen how good they were against United first game of the season. They've had a number of games like that now where they feel if they hadn't dipped their performance through halves and stuff like that and taken their chances, maybe they could have got some more out of those games. He says, but I know as well after a long time, if you can get through a first half with a reasonable result, like not being massively down, you can turn it. But the team needed help, and thankfully we could deliver the help. a little bit with a change of system and those kind of things, these kind of things. So what he's basically saying is we knew that we needed a change of system. He looked at it, and this is where we see Luis Diaz came on, provided that energy. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes on a pitch when you're kind of a little bit low with energy and stuff like that, you need a guy to come on and G up and deliver that kind of energy. And Luis Diaz started making those runs into the box and going after players and stuff like that. And then he just brought that wave of energy back to the team again, similar to what we seen with Trent. Um, Against Arsenal. Remember when Trent came on and remember when Trent was playing, then he inverted him, and all of a sudden that energy lit up, and all of a sudden Arsenal were on the back foot last season. It's that kind of thing, you know. And Luis Diaz did the same today. Obviously, then he identified that he needed to do those other changes. Cody coming off right after scoring, it kind of fell from with the tap in that he did. It was a lovely movement again, ball across, really lovely stuff. Kind of balls that sometimes Trent puts into that back stick and stuff. Really, really cool. Took his goal really, really well. Um, but the substitution was there to be made and stuff like that, and it was made. I'm sure he came off and he felt a little hard done by, but I know he knew before that goal he really hadn't been in the game and we really needed him. Darwin came on. He says on how he felt Jarell Kwanzaa coped on his first senior start. He says he did well. He did really well. It was really good, a nice, wonderful experience for him in such a disorganized team like we were in the first half. Being the one who looks kind of all right is a statement, obviously. So that's great to hear. Like that's a recognition from the gaffer there to say, listen, kiddo, you did really good today and you looked really well. Even in moments when we were under serious pressure, the team was nervous, it was disjointed, it was giving up possession, all those kind of things. You were still the guy going about your business the way you should. And I thought that was great. I really like Jarell Kwanzaa. I really, really do. And I hope he does really well and goes on to do amazing things. On Dominic Szoboszlai's performance, he said he has a massive influence on our game already. He's unbelievable. I don't think, have you ever seen a player to come in and in the space of 4 or 5 games, just be that guy that looks like he's been there forever and that he just dictates the play? I look at Dominic Szoboszlai at times and I just see movement, passion, desire, grittiness, competitiveness, and I just see shades of Stevie G in him and stuff that. And the guy is only there a wet day, and it's cool. It's cool to even hear guys like Mark Goldbridge off the United Stand all. I think he was on that's football, his other show that he does, the one on other teams stuff that, and he said he can't believe the recognition that Jurgen Klopp is not getting for the job he did on overhauling this midfield and seamlessly bring it into the Premier League and for it to work so well and stuff like that. So yeah, hats off. That's, it's a massive compliment there and stuff like that. But he said he didn't play very, very well first half. He was there, but when he lost the balls and stuff like this, where where you think, oh God, we lost so many balls, and we've seen it, even so many unusual and characteristic, just passes straight to Wolves player or passes into space where Wolves players could just go on the attack and stuff like that. And again, in his position, or McAllister's position or Curtis's position, if you're losing balls like that in that position, straight away you're on the defensive, you're on the attack, and you're putting your defense under real pressure, turning on the back foot and stuff like that. He says second half we play Curtis and Dom on a double six, which is a very offensive double six, which is very interesting when you call pivoting into a double six. And we've seen it at times as well where he did it with Trent last season with Fabinho, and it worked really well in terms of offensively as well, which was really cool as well. So that was good to see that it worked. And it really gave us that impetus in the midfield where we took over the midfield, controlled the game. We had the ball, so many attacks, and again, this is where we pushed Wolves right back into their own half and suffocated them, similar to what we've done in the past. So it was really, really cool to see that as well. I just want to get rid of this comment. Yeah, so we can see the rest of it. He said on Mo Salah's influence on the game with 2 assists and a big involvement in the third goal. I'd say he was dying to say 3 assists, wasn't he? I'll say 3 assists. I don't care. It's Mo Salah. He says he's unbelievable. He's involved in everything. First half wasn't great, obviously, but then again, a different system, and he is a key moment player. Definitely, he is always there when we need him. Like everybody, really stepped up in the second half. Really good. So what do we say about Mo Salah? You know, what more can we add to that? You know what I mean? The gaffer just identifying there just exactly how important he is to us, exactly what he brings to the team. Not only does he bring us goals now, but he's becoming a serious provider. And also some of his link-up play is starting to really, really improve as well, where that was at times a little bit loose and it would have been a comment about him. Now his link-up play is just there, exactly what you want. Now, some comments. West Ham. Welcome to the chat. How's your day? It's all good. How's yours? Hope it's good. Ano's in. Let's make football sexy again. Yeah, we do our best. Let's get into some player ratings. And of course, drop your player ratings in there, folks, in the chat. Let's see how they compare to ours. Player ratings are always they're always a kind of a fun thing to do because you just don't know what way it's going to go. And especially in a game like this where you've had like one half that was a real disaster and the other half we just played really, really well. So player ratings that you would normally expect to be an 8 or a 9 or something like that tend to fall into the 6 or 7 because really it's only a performance of 45 minutes, really, you know. So let us know your thoughts. Alison Becker up first. Of course, we have to give Ali a 7 minimum. I don't think there's a lot he could have done about the goal. I don't think he had a whole lot else to do, and basically he was a spectator second half, most of it and stuff like that. You know, hardly troubled after the break at all. So 7 for Allison. Still can't believe he's not on the Ballon d'Or. This is absolutely shocking. Joe, I'm going to give a 6 to. I thought he was much better second half, but again, as Redbird said in the comments as well, was it that Joe was much better second half? Or was it just he was a lot more comfortable because he had a lot less to do because our midfield basically took over the game and we were constantly attacking and stuff like that? But we'll give Joe a 6. I do still think Neto just absolutely roasted him first half. It was scary what he was doing to him. But yeah, 6 for Joe. 6 for Joel as well. You know, again, looked really good in the game against Aston Villa, but as we spoke about earlier, Redboard's comments on my own as well, very different. But I think this time as well, I think inverting Joe in as well as the two into the midfield and stuff like that, I think it sort of exposed Joe Matip a little bit as well. And I just think that didn't work. And I think you need just a different mentality. I think when it's that when you think that you need to think about so much more stuff and be alert to so much more stuff. And I think that's just where we lacked when we were doing that. Jarrell Kwanzaa, I gave an 8-2. I thought he was absolutely outstanding today. I thought even first half when we struggled so much, I think he was the guy who looked to be in control all the time. His reading of the game, his understanding of the game, his tracking of the game, I thought was really, really well. And I think this boy could potentially have a huge future. And what I would say, and this might be a big call, Virgil van Dijk should be a bit concerned. Just a tad bit, dare I say. But all good. Andy Robinson, I gave an A2. He got the man of the match, I think, on the BT side of things. Robbo again, captain the Reds, and we know we spoke about on the preview this little emotional Scots lad. He can get a little bit, you know, taken over by his emotions and stuff like that. Do you know something? I think we'll have a look at it again, will we? It is enjoyable. We'll have a look at it. Look at that. Look at Robbo. Look at Robbo there. How much did he enjoy that today? And everyone with him. Look at Harvey running in there, Darwin, Mo Salah. Have you ever seen 4 lads happier? And obviously Harvey's elbow is just in the way. But Darwin Núñez probably has a smile from ear to ear. Mo Salah is about to lose his mind. And look at Robbo. Robbo looks like he's about to run out the gate of Molineux and run all the way back to Liverpool. Outstanding. Great to see. I love that kind of thing. Love it. 8 for Robbo today. Alexis McAllister got a 4 today. Not the best rating for Alexis McAllister. Not necessarily pinning it on the player. I think it's more concerning that the gaffer failed to pick him. And I don't know. The one thing I'm probably a little bit concerned about, does that say something about Endo, who was there on the bench today? I don't know, considering the travel and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the change that had to be made. There was no doubt about it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we see Endo on Thursday now and he puts in a great shift against Lask, hopefully, you know. But he was banjax today. Dominic Szoboszlai, I gave a 7 to. Difficult first half, giving away the ball. midfield was a bit anonymous. Wolves played through it, down the flanks, bypassed it. Second half, more controlled in the game, got stuck in, winning the ball, holding the ball, dictating the play, spreading the ball, always available. Really, really good. Szoboszlai for 22. Outstanding. What a boy he has been. He is going to be a sensation for Liverpool. Curtis Jones today. Interesting that he was kind of, he came in again today and stuff like that. As we said, winning his 100th appearance for Liverpool. But I think he really, really struggled at time. But I think he grew more in stature as Liverpool dominated the game, as he does. But I think first half, I think he just wasn't in the game at all. I think he gave the ball away too much. I think his passing was a bit erratic. I just felt in that first half, for most guys, especially in the midfield as well, they were so concerned about just getting rid of the ball, getting rid of the ball. And even at times, if you think of Alisson, even at times Alisson getting the ball, picking it up and kicking it, he wasn't really feeding it to someone the way he normally does. We know how good he is at playing out from the back. It was really just get shot of it, get shot of it, get shot of it. Second half, way more controlled, way more possession, dictated the play. So a 6 for Curtis today. Mo Salah gets a 7 today. Probably should get an 8. I'm going to give him an 8, actually. I think he was really, really good. Second half, I think he was outstanding. The Robbo goal, the link-up play with Harvey, and created a number of chances, and probably could have had 1 or 2 goals himself as well, so it was always in it. Jota, like Redbird said in the comments, I think he gets a 5 today. I don't think he imposed himself enough on the game. I think the first half, drained him of his energy because he was expelling an awful lot of energy. He was around the pitch and stuff like that. He was trying to cover the yards and stuff like that. But Wolves were very clever in the way they were playing around us. And then when we tucked in real narrow, they went out really, really wide and we couldn't react to it. But a tough day at the office for Jota today. Gave him a 5. Cody Gakpo gave a 6 too. Like I said, really, really really, really tough first half. Wasn't really in the game, didn't really impose himself on it. The front guys were kind of anonymous, Jota, Gakpo, and Salah, really, first half, because Wolves were just such attacking and stuff like that. And you feel, looking at how the second half went, they just spent all their energy in the first half. And should have had more than 1 goal, probably should have had 3. But 6 for Cody today. Substitutes came on. Luis Diaz gets a 7, came on from McAllister, who we said was Banjax. Lewis straight away immediately on it. Unlucky with the header that just went wide, but brought that energy that lifted everyone around and stuff like that, had an influence around. And we love when that happens, when they have an influence around them. Harvey came on for Gakpo on 56. Harvey gets an 8, got stuck in. Really, really good cameo. Provided some really quality football in that midfield. Really liking the Harvey Elliott this season as well. We had some conversations about Harvey during the summer about whether physically he could actually make it in the Premier League. We had seen a number of performances last season where he got slapped around the midfield. But I think we're seeing a different Harvey Elliott evolve now, a much more cleverer Harvey Elliott, a guy who is really so respectful of possession and of retaining the ball and of using the ball really, really well. And I'm liking that from Harvey Elliott. I've seen a number of times where he's come on and had an immediate influence on the team when it came in, and that's what you want to see. And again, unlucky for Gakpo after scoring the goal and stuff like that. And Darwin came on for Jota on 56, gets a 7. Darwin's one of those guys where he's just, you can't hate on him, but you can get frustrated by him. And today was kind of one of those days. He could have nearly got a goal. He was very, very unlucky. He just lacked that little bit of sharpness, and I think that sharpness that he showed us against Newcastle was probably missing today. A lot of it, I'd say, was similar to McAllister, just energy, just probably a little bit drained and stuff like that and all. But I would expect us to see a very sharp Darwin Núñez on Thursday in the Europa League, hopefully. Konate came off for Kwanzaa in 82. Sad to see him down. I think it looked like a little bit of cramp, but he came off anyway. Hopefully he's good for Thursday. But Konate came on, gets a 6. Hardly had anything to do, with 8 minutes to go, plus whatever added time there was very little to do. And then Gravenberch came on 90 from Mo Salah. We're not going to give him a rating, but good to see Ryan coming on the pitch. Hoping to see a little bit of Ryan Gravenberch this Thursday as well. So stay tuned. We will have a look at that game during the week, and it will be very, very interesting to put together a starting 11. And I think, to be honest, if any of us put together a starting 11 for that game, I think if you're only 3 players out from what the gaffer thinks, you're probably doing well. So that's how we rounded up. The gaffer I gave an 8 to. I thought the gaffer today, he was really, really bemused by what went on in the first half. But again, as I said, no more of this, suffering fools gladly. No more of this wait until the 60th minute and the lane changes straight in there. If it's not working, change it. Boom, 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 boom. Change the formation, change the game. And ultimately, it's what delivered us the 3 points, which was so vital. So we now go on to the next game, Lask on Thursday, and then West Ham on Sunday. Two big games coming up. No doubt we're going to do pretty well in them. And it was great to see breaking that duck on that 12:30. So when everything is against you, you can still find a way to get it done. Until next time, folks, this is the Shankly Sessions. This has been your Wolves versus Liverpool match reaction and player ratings. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. If you're watching it on the replay, of course, like on the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification, share the content as well, and let's keep on trying to grow this community. Well done to the Reds. We were briefly top for a moment, which hasn't happened in a while, and we'll keep on pushing forward. Also, 16 games now unbeaten, on a bit of a run at the moment. Nice to see Liverpool finding its rhythm again. Until next time, folks, we will be back. Don't forget, Monday night, the Monday mashup. Myself and Marky will be back. We're going to have a lot to say about Man United when Marky's on, and we're going to be also talking about the results over the weekend. Until next time, folks, have a safe weekend. Catch you Monday.